Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter 407. It is the third day of the week, aka the Spirit Bomb workout. I'm feeling very good right now, very excited for this workout. But anyways, to the main subject matter at hand. Anything for views. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because in the previous episode right here, I discussed giving homeless people machetes and alcohol for views, and obviously not good, not a good thing. Obviously not a good thing. I think most people can agree on that, but there is something where technically the guy's not doing anything illegal. So it is an interesting dilemma, really, where we get into a point where it's not necessarily a viral trend, but more so along the lines of trying to find the boundaries that you can push legally within bounds in order to get views. And I think that that's where I wanted to just discuss this entire idea and how we are getting to the point now where we're getting accelerationism, basically, where people are just doing things to make society in essence worse by doing these types of things. And it's growing. You can see it in more and more terms or circles around the internet, just kind of growing in popularity because of certain things that are like this. So it's kind of making the downfall of Western civilization go a little bit faster, as well as monetizing it with some random gambling company or some other bullshit like that. So it's a very interesting thing, to say the least, to see it happening, especially because, like I said, there is a creativity level to it that I cannot even fathom. And that's kind of the scary part, because there are people out there who don't give a fuck and also are creative enough within the legal bounds to do shit. Now, of course, there have been people who do shit that aren't in the legal bounds, which is whatever, that happens. But I think that people are going to start pushing the limits to see where they can take them, but it's also going to have dire consequences on a lot of things in society. So today we're going to be talking about that. Also, the desire to want to do anything for views and how that leads to basically a whole lot of either nothing, embarrassment, or humiliation ritual. See this video about that, or just even worse, just death or something like that for absolutely, like 5 viewers. Good luck. Thank you, but we'll talk more about that and a lot of other stuff that goes into this because, anything for views. But anyways, with that being said, I will see you at Mother Base. All right, so started this day off with 80 press, which is pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Anything for views. And no, not the YouTuber. So the main reason why I want to discuss this is because obviously in the previous episode, I was talking about giving machetes and alcohol to homeless people, which is an extreme thing, but I think that this is a modicum of what happens with the internet age, where we are trying to get acceleratingly crazier and crazier ideas as we continue on into the depths of what is possible for content, as people will want to do anything for views because views are the modern commodity. Obviously, this can lead to things like embarrassment, nothing, or even death for certain people. I think that a lot of people will underestimate what's going on in their world and will all of a sudden possibly pay the ultimate price for the pursuit of what is essentially views, which is an interesting thing because a lot of the time people will very rarely actually parlay the views into something that is actually tangible. Most of the time, the virality or the popularity of a video is very one note and or very self-contained. And because of that, many a time people will end up doing the same thing over and over again. And if those things are ridiculous, reckless, or life endangering, they're just kind of stuck in a cycle where they basically have to nearly kill themselves for every video. Or even worse, where people will toil in the abyss of absolutely nothing, doing all these crazy things or whatever it is that they are doing to get absolutely nothing in return, which you'll see this quite often. A lot of people will end up just doing a whole lot of stuff for absolutely nothing, which is a very interesting
like pursuit or inner turmoil that a lot of these people will continue on. But the other thing about it is that I think that with technology becoming so great and things being able to be easy to make videos and get ideas and all this other stuff, we're going to eventually get to the point where people are going to put all of these things into a formulation and try to recreate something that is quite essentially just like the most one-upness of one-ups, and you're just going to get even crazier and crazier content to the point where people are going to just probably risk their life for like every single thing. Now, this isn't to say that everything will be like that. You can also say extreme things, which will also get a certain amount of people that will look at you and things like that. This is a very popular thing in the political sphere because you can get views from people because people will easily be rage baited. And that's the thing about it, is that when you appeal to emotion, most people will actually stop and watch, because realistically, we wouldn't want to put ourselves in your shoes in theory, or we are against you, or we are for you. And I think that unfortunately, because of how things have gone, we are going to get to that point where we are only going to see extremes of each thing, no matter what we do. And because of that, it's going to make it so that people will only be extremists online. And that's going to be a terrible thing, where there's the deadening of regular content or entertainment, or just like regular, nothing too crazy type of deal. Anything plain, calm, or simple will get shunned and alienated by an algorithm or just people in general. It's just going to be a marker of the innocence of the internet that once was, is now gone completely. Cat videos back in the day were bangers nonstop. Today and age, you might get a couple of views on a cat video, but at the same time, it's not going to be the same, especially when you can get a AI cat to play the drums and do whatever the fuck you want it to do. You know, that's going to be slightly more entertaining for certain people and get the views that the regular cat just doing cat-like things is going to not do. You know what I mean? So we are getting to that point where the extremes are starting to close in, and we're going to get nothing but those left. Not to mention the people who spend stupid amounts of money for a video that ends up doing absolutely nothing for them, and then they're stuck there holding a $3,000 bill because for some reason they thought they needed a red camera in order to record themselves or something like that.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Anything for views. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because, of course, this has always been a thing. I don't think that even before the popularity of YouTube and all the other social medias that have video formats, people would do things. And I think fundamentally, I think this is the biggest problem I have with this. And this is that people used to go into things on the internet and do random shit with no real sense of doing it for an ulterior purpose. So, for example, people would do shit just to try it out and see how it is. I'm just going to come in a jar for X amount of years, you know. I'm going to try to fit a jar up my asshole. You know, they just did it just to do it. You know, there was no incentive on money or popularity or fame. These things just kind of happened, and then all of a sudden fame found them. It seems as though nowadays people try to seek out any possible remnants of catastrophe in order to show it online and garner some either money or fame or something or attention in any sort of way that they can monetize and try to climb up the social ladder, which of course kind of understandable with how things are going in the economy, but that's kind of a different story. I think that at the end of the day, because people are trying to find that, the authenticity of the internet in general has been lost in a certain sense, and it makes it so that you have people that are, simply put, evil, going out there doing anything in order to get the views. And I think that that's the worst part about it, because then it gets rid of any actual exploration and or something along those lines that people were just kind of curious about. Like, they were just doing stupid shit to do the stupid shit, you know? Stupidity for the sake of stupidity rather than stupidity for the sake of the dollar. And I think that That's the worst part about it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, money ruins everything. It's not necessarily that, but it definitely leads people to do things that can be evil, and thus causes everything to kind of go to shit, you know? And it sucks because now whenever you see something, first you have to figure out if it's staged, see this video right here about that, or if it's genuine. And then if it's genuine, what is it? And is it good or bad, or good or evil? And then you always have the underlying tone of it being evil, because realistically, if it's actually good, they probably wouldn't be showing it on the internet, most likely. That's the thing. It's like everything has been kind of tainted and ruined. Even philanthropy has been tainted and ruined by the want for views. So thus, it kind of makes everything sullied and weakened and evil in some weird way. So that's why it's more interesting to see people that don't have many views or don't have many incentives on doing things, because then it's like you're doing it for the love of the game, you know? And there is something nice about that, which not a lot of people are doing nowadays. You know, it's not for the love of the game, it's for the money. And I understand why. I'm not going to shit on the people that do it for the money, but it does ruin everything in a certain sense. So because of that, everything is filled with a question mark, you know. Some people still do it for the love of the game, and for those people, I do salute you. But the other people, ask yourself what you're willing to do, and make sure that you're not going to go into evil territory, because people will easily cross into that territory very easily without even thinking about that. They will just immediately go into there and then stretch their morality into something where it is a gray zone, but in reality, it's evil. So just be aware of that, especially if you are that person trying to chase something that is realistically fleeting. So with that being said, though, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. If you know anybody that may or may not have tried to do things for views in particular, please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. If for some reason anything for views the YouTuber watches this, hello. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there and stay warm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.